today is brought to you by Barking Enterprise Centre. Barking Enterprise Centre is based in Barking, so some of you are in Barking. They are an enterprise centre where you can rent a desk, you can rent office space, you can get free mentoring, you can attend workshops like the one you're attending today with me, all about digital marketing. You know, please make sure you check them out. They've also just opened up a fabulous creative workspace, which is actually where I'm delivering this session from now, called the 360 Working Room. So some of you who are in the creative field and you're based in London, it's definitely a venue to check out. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put a link in the chat, which is for Beck. And let's do that now. The rest of all of my links, where you can find me, all my events that are going on, what I'm up to, you can find out afterwards. So, right, Imran, my office in Barking Enterprise Centre. Oh gosh, we have to. I'm actually just across the road from you, Imran. So I definitely need to make sure that I pop my head in and connect with you, by the way. For sure. I didn't realize you were across the road. So I'm literally across the road from you, Imran. I'm actually in 360 Workrooms, the creative workspace, delivering this here today. So I've got a neighbor. Oh, no problem. Small world. Right, with that said, let me kick off. Share screen. There we go. I just need to minimize myself. It can be quite off-putting seeing yourself in the corner. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go into present mode, and we're going to kick off. So some of you might have been on the workshops. I run a workshop monthly for Barking Enterprise Centre. And last month we did Getting Started with Digital Marketing, which really gets you to understand more of the basics of digital marketing and really just understand that we're in the digital world and how much the world has changed and what does that mean in relation to your business. So what we're going to do today is really take what we looked at last month. It doesn't matter if you wasn't on last month's workshop, by the way, but I know some of you were. What we're going to look at today is, okay, how do we use digital marketing strategies to really increase sales? Because sometimes we've got this thing of where we put marketing in a complete different box to sales. And actually, they sit in the same place. The definition of marketing is promoting and selling services. Well, sales is making sure that you close, you ask for the sale, and you get the money in. Because without closing, without selling, you don't have a business. You cannot scale your business. You cannot achieve your goals and dreams because you're not going to get the profit that you want. So actually, marketing and sales go hand in hand. But what we're going to look at is, what does this look like in the digital age? How do we increase sales through digital marketing? And it's very much a mixture of psychology versus technology, because the beauty about the digital world is that we get to automate all our systems, so we can literally make money as we sleep. However, we need to make sure that the whole process is still humanized. Some of you offer services here, so you know, whether it's textiles, which is business to business, you've got your own agency, you're still dealing with people, but the process and how you work very much needs to be looked at, so you can automate it to make sure you've got a constant flow of traffic, leads, which then leads to conversions and sales. You know, we have to have a model for our business, or otherwise you just end up shooting in the dark. So some of you know who I am. My name is Natalia Nicholson. I'm a digital marketing coach. So I have been in e-commerce since 2003. This was before there was any cloud-based systems, there was any Canvas, there were any Grammarly's. You know, we was working off pure hardwired coding and programming. You'd have to get a specialist to do everything, and it cost a bomb. So I thought I was going to be the next Amazon, starting a multicultural bookstore, and I literally just failed my way to success. I literally went bankrupt. Like, I turned up at the courts and couldn't even file because you need £500 to file bankruptcy. And from there, I've been on a journey over the last 20 years of actually since then setting up numerous businesses, which I've built up, exited from. I then decided to put my own range of candles together and inspirational gifts, which is what brought me back into e-commerce after starting a whole host of traditional businesses, one being actually a cleaning business, which is what paid off all my debt. So I've been an entrepreneur for absolute years. And in the last 6-7 years, I fell into coaching and consulting by working with small businesses on behalf of Google Digital Garage, where I would help businesses really look at their digital marketing, their digital processes, and help them to digitalize their business. As I've done with local boroughs, I'm still here at the Beck doing training for them, lots of local government contracts, but I also know it myself. I also understand what it's like to go from ideation, creating a product, having an Amazon store, building my own e-commerce site, building a following, building customers. So now I've got my own e-commerce site, and I also specialize in helping women. So I also run a community called Women in Digital Business, where I consult, train, coach, and we have a really great membership where we really help elevate women, because women rock. We're starting our businesses at the fastest rate than any other group. So that gives you a little bit about who I am and what validates me to speak about what I speak about with such passion. So what I would say, just a few things: don't procrastinate. All of you here are either running your own business or you're in an organization working to become an expert in what you do and to be able to take your business or the business you work to the next level using digital strategies, using digital marketing. Don't procrastinate. There are so many times that I look back and it's just like hindsight's a beautiful thing, but try and set a time limit and have respect for what you do. You know, if you've got a mobile phone bill, you've got a mortgage payment, rent payment, you make sure that you commit and you obey all the rules and regulations that go with that. Have that same energy and faith in yourself. Always have belief that you can do something and keep moving forward. Be clear on your goals. Us entrepreneurs suffer from shiny object syndrome. It's just rooted in us. We can't help but be doing 5 things at the same time, or as soon as something doesn't seem to be going quite right, we change on to maybe doing another route or another methodology. Be clear on your goals and stick to your goals. And once you've achieved your goals, then you keep stepping it up. So like I said, make sure you've got a notepad. I will send a copy of the decks out. I'll also, this recording will be uploaded onto YouTube as well. So you'll be able to go onto my YouTube channel and listen back to it. And I will send out a copy of decks. Be a learner. It's confidential. Have some fun. If you've got any questions while I'm delivering, simply just put it in the chat. Use the Q&A. And at the end, you can simply unmute yourselves and let's talk. So with that said, let's get started and have some fun. It is going to be fast-paced and fast-moving because I've crammed a lot in. But the great thing about the webinars that I run is that you will get value. You will leave here with some golden nuggets, some aha moments, and at least, if nothing else, me, you know, getting you to really question where you are so you can really make some decisions. I want to make sure every single one of you leave with some actionable steps. So what are we going to cover? We are going to cover branding you and your business. We're going to look at the customer value journey, which essentially is a sales funnel. We're going to look at content marketing, which is the vehicle, how you're going to connect with others and get that human to human interaction. We're going to look at the importance of analytics and market intelligence. And we're just going to do an introduction to social media because, to be fair, that's like a whole lesson within itself. So that's the format. So you will get a copy of these decks. And what I would say is make sure you commit. Exactly what I said about goals. I'm not going to get into the whole goal setting and mind setting thing, but your head needs to be in the right place. You need to be able to commit to yourself. Just like I said, you would commit to a contract with a bank, an institution, a bill. The same respect you give them, you need to give yourselves. Commit to what it is that you want out of life. Commit to it and sign it, and let's get going. You're in the right place. So the first thing I want to look at is defining your personal brand. For many of you, and even for those who are working for someone else, even like, you know, there's some of you here are someone's working for a manufacturing company, someone else is working for a textile company. Every organization, whether it's yours or you're working for it, has a brand. And, you know, brands like Coca-Cola, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Apple, these took years to build. They didn't just come out overnight. And any successful brand is always attached to a person. It's like having a child. Your business brand is born out of you. So for all of you that are saying, oh, I don't really want to put myself out there, that's not for me, you need to get rid of that notion now. I'm just going to tell you as it is, by the way. I'm a real straight talker. That's impossible, because people buy people. People need to know who you are, and they need to understand you, and then they will understand the business. Because a brand identifies a product or a service, and it differentiates it from its competitors and marketplace. But it's born out of you. So the brand has to start with you. Who are you? You know, how are you different from other people? What makes you fascinating? And someone asked me that question once. And have you ever gone to answer a question, you're like, and you stop and you think, you know what, I need some time to actually think about that. Like, what is it in relation to what you do as a business? Why you've come up with that idea? What makes you fascinating? And the answer is going to be so different for so many of you. You know, I've got a cousin who recently actually just started an Amazon business, is doing phenomenally well, selling the net vegetable bags. You know, the bags that you go to the supermarket don't give you bags anymore. So the bags that you would use, the recyclable ones, to put all your loose fruit and veg in, that's what she sells on Amazon. Now, she's not passionate about that because she picked that product because she knows it's trending and she's going to sell a lot of them. Believe it or not, it's not that she's got a passion for selling those bags. But what makes her fascinating is the fact that she's an entrepreneur and she's able to see gaps in the market, and she's able to get a product to her customer at the cheapest price possible for something that they need that's also sustainable. What makes you fascinating? We have all got a why. So let's look at personal brands. You look at people like Gordon Ramsay, very in your face, quite rude, swears a lot, as some people might say. Someone who is dedicated, has a lot of tenacity. When you look at his restaurants that he cooks in, like Claridge's, has that got the same brand? But no, his brand and how he got there is still born out of him and his characteristics. You look at people like Mother Teresa. It might be a charity that she once run, but it's still a business. And when you think of her, you think of someone completely thoughtless, selfless, is like a savior of the world. And that's what she stands for. So anything she's associated with will have that brand identity. And a business brand identity can change. You know, Mr. Sainsbury's, Tesco's, they would have built their businesses and ideology, and years to come, their brands are massive and it changes. But in the beginning, no one knows who you are. You're not a big brand like that yet. So your brand has to come from you. Oprah Winfrey, if she endorses or says something, you know, people follow. She's like the gift that just keeps giving. And that's what works for her. So when Oprah recommends a book to read, the world reads it. And that comes from her influence, her brand from being on TV, working for someone else. It's her personal brand that is carrying through and made her career and the entrepreneur that she is. Someone's asked, please, is it possible we have the PowerPoint at the end via mail? I will try to. Quite often it always bounces back, and that's what the problem with that is, but I will get a copy of the slides to you. So your personal brand is important. Understanding what you stand for is important. So you might recognize personal brands like these. They also have a business brand, but understand the difference. Michael Jordan is a basketball player. He has a personal brand personality as a basketball ball player. He also has a pair of sneakers, trainers, whatever you want to call it, with Nike, that is a household brand, Jordans, Nike Air Jordans. So understand that brand, those trainers became so popular and have sold millions worldwide and become household names where people don't even know Michael Jordan is a basketball player in some countries, but they know what Nike Air Jordans are. But those trainers were born out of his personal name. You know, lovely example. Mike Zuckerberg, the story of Facebook. Okay, the starting of Facebook, he had a very strong personal brand, controversial, one might say, but he had a very strong personal brand, and that personal brand is what allowed him to start Facebook. And Facebook now has its complete own separate brand compared to Mark Zuckerberg that doesn't always have the likable factor. We look at people like Steve Jobs, Richard Branson. Richard Branson is an excellent example of how he used to use PR stunts back in the 80s and 90s. Some of you who are too young, read his biography. He understood how to promote himself, how to put himself out there in the press, how to get noticed. And that's really how he built his brand Virgin. It was born out of him. Steve Jobs, you read the story of Apple, it's fascinating. It was born out of him. So all these big brands, they were born out of someone. So understand that you need to get yourself known. You need to understand what your why is, what makes you fascinating. Why would someone want to buy your product or service from you? Because it's going to start with you, not your business. I'm going to keep reading the chat as I go along. Don't worry about the decks. Don't get caught up with all of that. Make sure that you're getting all this information. The recording will be available on YouTube, which means you're going to visually see the decks, and I will send a copy out to everyone. So don't worry about that, the administration of that. Who gets it, who doesn't, I can't help that, if that makes any sense, but it will get sent out to all of you. But the recording will be on YouTube, and if you can see the visuals and you've got the recording, I think that's a much better place to be. So what I want you to do is understand your digital footprint. So at this point, make sure you just tidy it up. You know, think about content created by you, images posted, statuses, videos shared, pages like. Does that fall in with your personal brand that you're now representing for your business? And for those of you that work for business organizations, and you might think, well, my CEO or director is not going to be putting themselves out there or branding themselves. That company will still have a brand story, and that brand story needs to be present. Even if it's in business to business, it's in lead generation. People need to understand why it exists, whether it's a textile company that believes in sustainability, fair trading, you know, there's going to be a USP that you've got. There's influencers in all marketplaces, not just fashion influencers or women influencers or beauty influencers, even business to business. There's an influencer in every industry. Bigger organizations might use influencers to get across their brand story of the business and the why it got started and why they do what they do. So, you know, it looks different depending on what type of business you are, but just be careful of your digital footprint. Make sure you tidy it up. You know, content that you're tagged in, photos, you know, your personal Facebook pages, Instagram pages, you are now representing your business. Just like if you work for someone, anybody that works in that organization represents that business. You want to make sure that pages are tidy and, you know, you're representing as you should be. And there's also a website called DeSeatMe, DeSeate.me. I'll put it in the chat. If you go onto Google, it will come up. But what that website does, it will tell you any accounts that you might have forgotten about, just so you can tidy things up. Okay. So branding strategy for your business. So hopefully I've got the point across that you need to do some personal branding. And like I said, all your businesses are different. Some of you more than others, some of you less than others. It just depends. There isn't like a one size that fits all, but I think you get the point that brands are born from someone. So when we're looking at the branding for your actual business, let's look at the definition of marketing. The marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product from other products. That's a different definition of branding. Okay, so an effective brand strategy gives you a real major edge. We are in a really competitive marketplace, so you need to be clear on what your brand promises. And sometimes people don't understand what branding means. And simply put, your brand is just a promise to your customer. It tells them what they can expect from your products and services, and it differentiates your offering from that of your competitors. So your brand is derived from who you are, who you want to be, and who people perceive you to be. Okay, so when we look at branding, and you're going to think about, okay, what is my brand promise? You know, what do we stand for? Actually, before answering that question, you need to start with your target audience. It's the very first thing. And again, this is just like a whole nother workshop as well. Actually, next week, I'm actually running a workshop within my community called Content Marketing. And if you can come along, I would really strongly suggest that you do. Because within content marketing, you need to explore and understand who your audience is. And we take a little bit of a deep dive into that on that workshop that I'm going to be running next week. But ask yourself, who is your target audience? What segments are there? You can't target everyone. And that whole, I've got a product or service and actually it can be for everyone. No, there's so many channels now. Those days are over. There's so much noise. We see on average like 40,000 ads a day. There's so much noise. You've got to segment your audience. So let's just say, I don't know, your audience was mums. You might have mums that have got 2 children or less under 5. You could have mums that have got teenagers, mums that have only got 1 children, mums that are single parent, mums that are single parents that work full time, mums that are in a household and, you know, they're a housewife. You can see where I'm going with this. There's loads of different segments. Okay. For the content marketing, I'll give you all the details afterwards. But Women in Digital Business, we're on Eventbrite, so all our events are listed on there and they're listed on our website. But I will put all the links as soon as I finish into the chat. So yeah, understanding who your audience is really, really key. So you need to kind of understand where you sit in the market, and you need to know your customer segments. Because you might start to realize, oh my gosh, that's a lot of customer segments. Let me just start with these 3 and monetize, and then I'll go on to the next, because you can't send messages to everyone, and those messages are going to hit home to such a big target audience because they're all coming from different places. And the key to connecting with your audience using content marketing is to be able to connect and create human to human relationships. You do that through building trust, and it's just like any relationship. If you meet someone and it just sounds like they're always telling you what you want to hear, what do you think about them? And you definitely don't trust them. So understanding your target audience and who you're going to start targeting to is really, really important. So you need to decide, are you the innovative maverick in your industry? Are you the experienced one, reliable one? Is your product high cost, high quality option? Is it low cost, high value option? You just can't be both. You can't be all things to all people. What is your brand promise? And really your brand promise should be based to some extent on who your target audience wants you or needs you to be. Make sense? It has to start with your audience. So make sure you do your research. What's your company's mission? What are the benefits and features of your products or services? What do your customers and prospects already think of your company? For those of you that are trading and you've got customers, you've got a customer base that actually ask and build this. If you do not get branding right, it's like building a house on weak foundation. It's like having a house of cards. It's just going to blow down. And we really do kind of don't give branding the respect that it deserves. Kind of like, yeah, I've got to get a website up and running. I've just got to get social media pages. We need to be on social media. We need to have presence. For what? What are you trying to achieve? Branding is really, really key. And doing your research, especially in this day and age, we're going to touch on it in the analytics. There's so much marketing intelligence out there. You don't no longer have to make shoot in the dark or just make assumptions. You can make real informed decisions using research because there's so much intelligence around us in the digital world. So just a few things around branding. You want a great logo. You want to place it everywhere. You need a brand messaging. Messaging is really, really key. Like Women in Digital Business, a part of our brand guidelines is one whole sheet that will have different brand messages down to, we give value, tools and resources for underrepresented women, key messages to our target audience. So what are the key messages you want to communicate about your brand? And every employee, every supplier, everybody that works with you within your company and business should know this, so it underpins everything. Integrate your brand. Branding extends to every aspect of your business. How you answer your phone, your tonality, what your salespeople wear, how your sales call go, your email signature, how you write copy, everything. Here at Women in Digital Business, we are straight talkers. We pride ourselves on just being to the point, no BS. And that follows through in our proposals, in our social media posts, everything, even me delivering now. I try to be as straight to the point as I can be. Create a voice for your company that reflects the brand. The voice should be applied to all written communication and incorporated into all visual imagery and materials, online and off. Is your brand going to be friendly? Is it controversial? Is it ritzy? Is it very formal? You get the gist. What's going to be the voice of your company? Develop a tagline. Write a memorable, meaningful, and concise statement that captures the essence of your brand. We as business people, because we own our businesses or we work in a business and we're really close to it, even if you don't own one, you tend to want to explain things in just full paragraphs where the person who's interested in you is not really interested in all that. They just kind of want to know something in one sentence. So taglines are really key. Designing templates, create brand standards for your marketing materials, especially when you're using social media. There should be brand consistency across all your platforms. That's what gets people to trust you. If you had, brand colors on an Instagram page, then it looks different on a Facebook page. You've got different imageries. Your logo looks different. You've got a Yahoo email address. Your URLs don't even have your own company domain in. What does that do? It breaks trust. And if you haven't got trust, people will not buy for you. So be true to your brand. Customers won't return to you if you refer you to someone else if you don't deliver your brand promise. Whatever you promise, you need to make sure you deliver and be consistent. This tip above all is the most important when it comes to branding. Consistency is just like a relationship. When you meet someone, consistency is what really gets you to cement with someone, whether it's a friendship, romantic. And think about everything that you do within marketing, especially digital marketing, in terms of a relationship. Humanize the process. So lastly, just make sure you choose your business handles carefully. Some of you at the beginning of your journey, and I would say start with the end in mind. With my gift business, I started off with Natalia Nicholson candles. So when I expanded my range, that caused a bit of a problem because all my following were for candles. So just an example, just be careful of what business handles that you do choose and set up for your brand. So next, we're going to look at the customer value journey. So the customer value journey is actually your digital sales funnel. But I find that anytime I talk about a digital sales funnel, people very much take it like a robot. I'm going to put a lead magnet together. I'm going to do this stage because it tells me to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it out there and boom, the sales will come in. No, you have to be able to humanize the process. It is just like meeting someone. And that's how I want you to start thinking of your customer. I want you to think like, how are you going to meet your customer, be friends with them, court them, and marry them? And that's how I want you to look at the customer value journey in a very intimate way, because that's what's going to get you to connect to your customer. And that's what's going to successfully enable you to build out an automated system to build online. So effectively, you want to make your audience aware of you. So whether that's through paid advertising and you've got budget, whether you haven't got any budget and that's organically, how will you get your audience to notice who you are? And to do that, again, you are going to have to spend some time really looking at who your audience is and studying that. So you understand where they hang out, you understand their pains, their points, their pain points, sorry, their challenges. How will you get your customers to find you? How will you get them to notice you? So whether that's through advertising, social media, SEO, content marketing, blog writing, there's so many different ways, live events. I don't know what your business model is, LinkedIn, lead generation. How will you make them aware of you? How will they even know you exist? That's the first question you need to answer. Then you need to look at, okay, once they've been aware of me, how will I engage with them? You need to find out as much as possible about your prospect. And also as well, if someone's been made aware of you, think about when you're made aware of something you're interested in, whether it's a product or a service. Your next natural psychological step is you're making a decision on whether you might possibly buy from them or not. So in the engagement stage, your job as the business owner or the person in charge of marketing is to think to yourself, okay, how do I answer the questions of the objections to sell that my prospect might be having right now as they're making their mind up to buy from me? Okay, what is it, the questions that they might have? And you need to produce content that is really answering those objections to sell so they can start to make an informed decision. You're also going to learn more about them. The more you learn about them is the better your customer value journey is going to be. And at that engaged stage, this is where you've both got the opportunity as the prospect and the person offering a product or service to find out more about one another. And this is where the psychology comes in. And for some of you, depending on what your product or service is, this is where you're going to start to build a community or a tribe, depending on what it is that you offer. Okay, it's always good to have a community and tribe because you've got somewhere where you're gathering people that are being made aware of you and they're interested in what you do. After that, you then want your community to subscribe to you. So you want to create what's called a lead magnet where they will sign up for something of great value, but now you might have an email address, a mobile phone number. Maybe you got them to follow you and you're subscribing on a social media channel. That subscription can look different for many of you depending on what you do. And it doesn't have to be a lead magnet. I used to find a lot of times people would always use examples of coaches and consultants. It doesn't have to be a book or a webinar. Some of you, even on this call now, for instance, you might have an ad agency. What does your ad agency specialize in? Maybe it specializes in SEO. Well, how about offering some type of free audit? You know, you've got a textile company. Maybe it's a walk around your factory, but then maybe someone's not based in your country. Maybe it's a call to figure out how in their production process of using textiles, you can guarantee to save them a certain amount. And it could be a discovery call that, you know, you can tell them how they can work more sustainable and save money by working with you. There's just so many examples. So whether it's a webinar, whether it's a discovery call, whether it's a book, whether it's a coupon code, whether it's a free product, whether it's a consultancy, there's just so many things it could be depending on your business. You want them to subscribe, because by having an email address, by having a cell number, by being able to contact them through a bot on Messenger, it means now not every time your prospect is ready to every time you're selling is your prospect ready to buy. So by having that subscription means that you can constantly keep your leads warm. And especially if you was paying for your leads in the aware stage, even if you got them organically, that's your time, that's blood, sweat and tears that you paid, whether it's in time or money, to be able to get people to aware of you and get leads. You want to make sure that you are keeping the connection going. Again, it's like meeting someone. You know, you might exchange numbers, you don't speak as frequently in the beginning, then you start to like someone's banter and you speak more and more and more, and that connection grows. So you want people to subscribe to you so you can keep the communication going, and you have a way to keep communicating with them. So you, at all times, you're helping to convert them into a sale. That sells usually an entry point sell, depending on the model of your business. But once someone feels comfortable to take their debit or credit card out, you've got their trust. So that's why an entry point offer, where they don't have to think too hard and they can try something out that you do for very low value, is a really good place to start, because you're building trust slowly. You then want to onboard them, you want to excite them, you want to make them feel like, oh my god, this was just the best decision ever that I made. I've got, you know, all these smoothie juices. Maybe you signed up for some smoothie recipes and you've paid for a whole load of cards, or you've paid for something. Now you're going to excite them by showing them a video on how to make their first smoothie. There's so many different examples. It could be through packaging, it could be through asking for feedback. There are so many different ways that you can excite your audience, and now they're excited to be around you, your service or your product that is solving a problem that they have while they bought from you in the first place. You want to take them up an ascension ladder to buy more from you. Once they've bought more from you, they're really happy. So what do? They tell other people, which means they're advocating you. Word of mouth, always going to be the best part of marketing. And then, you know, then you want to look at, you know, them promoting you, and like maybe looking towards an exit strategy, which is you maybe having an affiliate program, creating a franchise, a joint venture, where they get a commission for promoting your products on behalf of you, which means you're now even working less, because it's actually your fans that are now actually working for you. And like I said, it's an exit strategy from there, or maybe it's not. But it's about mapping out a detailed customer value journey, but one that builds relationships and sincere relationships. And that's what a customer value journey is. And that's what's going to make you sell online. But you have to learn the psychology of it. That lead magnet that I'm talking about is no different to what's your number. It's about building relationships with people using digital strategies and technology. Not just shove it in your face, put an ad out, put a banner ad out, and boom, the sales come in. It just doesn't work like that. And that's where it starts to go wrong. Oh, you know, just post 3 times a week, it will soon work. It won't. I'm not being negative, but you have to have strategic planning. You have to map a journey out. You know, from asking for your number to an entry point offer, can I take you for dinner? That's you selling your core product of what you do. You know, will you marry me? That's your creme de la creme, your top product that you sell. And then from there, it doesn't end at marriage, you know, date nights, the return path. What else can you sell or cross sell? The fast food industry does this really, really well. Would you like to supersize for 30p? Or loyalty programs do this really, really well to get you to keep coming back. Okay, so the entry point offer leads directly to the core offer, just to clear that up. The entry point offer is when your prospects are subscribed to something and you just want to give them that entry point offer of something that's of small value that gets them to take their credit or debit card out of their pocket to build that trust up, which will then lead to your core offering. So how do we create an automated system using technology and put the customer value journey together by using these laws of intimacy that I'm speaking about, which is almost literally like dating someone and, you know, settling down and getting married, because that's how you want to treat your customers. We do that through content marketing. Content marketing is the vehicle that you're going to use. You know, marketing means the practice of promoting and selling products to service and people. So content is how you're going to get that human to human connection through technology. But to do that, you need to understand your customers. And I do this by using something called the before and the after grid. So I want you to think about, and don't forget, you're going to get a copy of the decks, and most importantly, you'll get a copy of the recording. So I want you to think about, where is my customer before they've come into contact with me, my product and my service? What did they have in regards to what I offer? How did they feel? What was their average day? What's their status? What's their good versus evil? And I want you to think about all of your customer segments, all of your products and services. And then for each one, I want you to think, okay, how would they feel after having each product or service from each customer segment, sorry. How would they feel after? What would they have? How would they feel? What's their average day? What's their status? What's their good versus evil? Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't quite get it. So I'm going to tell you a little story that will bring it together. I love this example because I just resonated with this ad really, really well. And I just feel like they just used the whole before and after very well. They executed it. I would show you the ad, but I can't. So I'm going to tell you the story. So it starts off with a lady in a bath. She's got the bubbles up to her neck. She's got a glass of red wine, and she's just like, she's exhausted. So she thinks about her day, and within her day, her kids are running around the house, just causing a mess, jumping around everywhere like hyenas. She's got the laptop up in the kitchen. She's got the mobile phone to her ear. She's trying to do work. She's trying to make packed lunch boxes, and she is just stressed. So she is just grateful that the havoc of her day is over. Instantly, I resonate with this woman because I just saw my life on the TV, on the screen, should I say. I just saw my life on the screen. So she now gets out the bath, she goes downstairs, and she's got this package on the breakfast bar table, and she now opens it. When she opens it, she's got all these lovely memories of her Instagram photos that are printed in a book that shows her all her happy memories of the month. So before she came downstairs and looked at that book, and she was in the bath just thinking about what a crap day she had, at that point, she just felt like, you know, she just has a lot of stress. You know, she doesn't have anybody to help her. She's just out here in the wilderness doing it by herself. She's stressed. She's pushed to her limits. You know, she's just thankful that the day's over and she's actually gotten through it. She just feels like she doesn't get the support that she needs. She feels like she's juggling all these plates. And at any moment, if someone just literally walked past her, she'd drop all of them and lose control. Her average day is absolutely manic. She just feels like she's just about staying on top of things. It's really hard being a mum, an entrepreneur, running the household. Her status is that, you know, you just do and do and do. You don't get back. No one doesn't do anything in the house. Her good versus evil at this point now is just like, you know, good things don't happen to good people. So she walks downstairs, she goes to the breakfast bar, and she now looks at this wonderful album of her and her family having all these precious time and moments. All of a sudden, she feels like she has it all. She has the business or job or career. She has her children. She has a family home. She feels like she's so lucky. She's so blessed. Some people can't even have children. She's got a business that brings her in money. You know, her average day is really hectic, but it's really rewarding because look how much you get out of it. And her good versus evil now suddenly becomes, you know, if you work hard, you get things out of life. Do you see the example that I just gave you, that this one book, this one playbook that she is a subscription that you sign up to, that every month it automatically prints out all your Instagram posts, but her being able to see the things that she's blessed with, can you see how it makes her feel after and how she would have felt before, day to day, when you're in that moment of dealing with the stress? And that advert understood the before and the after, and hopefully me telling you that story puts it into perspective for you. Okay, so one of the things I want you to go away after this workshop and do, I want you to do a customer avatar worksheet. I want you to understand who is your customer audience and what are the different segments that you have. And I'm not just talking name, age, demographic, class system, wages, affluent area that you live in, number of children, not all that superficial stuff. I want you to really understand from your audience, what are their goals in life? What are their values? What books do they read? What magazines do they read? What blogs and websites do they go on to? What gets their attention? What conferences do they go to? What gurus do they follow? And not just conferences, what even socially, what concerts do they go to? What do they do in their spare time? What's their hobbies? What genre of music do they like? What type of food eaters are they? Are they vegan? Are they pescatarians? Where do they stand culturally, religiously? What are their beliefs? What are their pain points? What are their challenges in life? I want you to take a real deep dive, because once you do that, that's how you manage to produce content that is able to connect with your audience, where they feel like your product or service and who you are as a brand understands them. And that's what makes them buy from you, because ultimately people buy from people. And also by doing that deep dive, you're going to get a real good understanding of what are the possible objections to sales. And also who plays what role in the purchase. I sell inspirational gifts. It's actually the end user, where the gift is going to, plays a bigger role than you will know in terms of what their dislikes and likes are, not the actual person buying it. Some of you might sell things that are for children. So actually their influence is there in the buying process. It's also about understanding who's in that buying process to make sure that you're producing the content. So when it comes to content, you're always going to want a great headline. Always use stories. Stories play to emotions. Every Hollywood blockbuster follows 3 major themes, which is introducing the character, introducing the conflict, overcoming the conflict. So use stories, play to emotions: pride, greed, lust, anger, love, gluttony, envy, sloth. I know a lot of those might seem negative, but remember, there's always a conflict in a story. And people who are going through some type of hardship, whether it could be maybe a skin problem, whether it could be, needed sustainable textiles for your skin to breathe, whether it's an agency to come on board that can get better results and you're not just constantly wasting money, whether it's to be able to trade better and make a better income at home without having the level of work. Everybody wants a story that understands them and understands the problems that they're going through in relation to the product or service that you sell. So play to emotions. Looking at the benefits and the features of the products. Benefits and features are 2 different things. We speak about that a lot more on some of our other webinars, as I'll be here until midday or this afternoon. Demonstrate and prove what you're saying. Have you got testimonials? Have you got reviews? Just using bullet points so the information is laid out and it's easy on the eye. So, just a few extras. Testimonials are key. If you're not asking for them, you haven't got them, go and get them. Really important. Testing the price. Your marketplace will tell you the price. With my candles, go figure, I was selling luxury candles high end for way too cheap. The minute I put the price up, I started to sell more. Having a guarantee, getting people to trust you, adding bonuses in, that just makes it a no-brainer. Every single piece of content should always have a call to action, whether it's a buy now before we sell out, a follow us, a share, a sign up, a learn more, attend an event. It should always have a call to action. PSs are great because they're a great way to just recap anything that you've written about on a long sales letter or post. Email marketing is not dead. Within content marketing, many of you that will get someone's details for that lead magnet, it will be an email address, and that email address now means that you can send out program messages. It also means that you can segment your marketplace and you can send a message out to different types of audiences that are very personalized and targeted to that audience. So like I said, you're not trying to talk to everyone and sell one thing to everyone, so no one feels personal. So emails and CRM have come such a long way in the digital world. So let's say you had a lead magnet that was targeting people that was using silk material, another one that was for cotton, another one that's for synthetics. Your email marketing tool could now segment the list that these are the people interested in cotton, these are the people interested in synthetics, these are the people interested in silk, and so on. So email marketing is very, very powerful. And there's just so many nowadays that goes on. MailChimp. I'm not really a big lover of MailChimp, but you've got things like Active Campaign, Aweber. You know, when you get really big and sophisticated, like big organizations, and you're doing real email architecture and segmentation, you've got things like Keep that used to be called Infusionsoft. So technology, again, comes into play and plays a big part. So just think about the customer's life cycle when it comes to content marketing, and really being able to connect with your audience using know, like, trust, and try. Okay. Like is the content, trust, reviews, you know, trying it, what trials, what's the entry point offer, what's the lead magnet, upselling, downselling, cross-selling. Can you see now how content marketing fits into the customer value journey? Because it's the vehicle that's going to connect one step to another and humanize the whole process. This is where, you know, you'll have follow-up offers, autoresponders, and this is where you'll really start to build out a funnel. Okay, so always with content, it should be 80-20. 80% content and educational, 20% sales. You don't want to, once you start collecting leads, you will exhaust your list if you constantly just keep selling all the time. You want to be able to give away tips, blogs, posts. You want to make it, you know, newsworthy, things that may be not about your product or service, but affects the market sector or the industry. Product reviews, warnings, new ideas, social. You know, selling advertising space. You really want to build a relationship. You might even promote affiliate or joint venture products. So make sure that ratio is always 2-for-1 for the information and promotion. Headlines, again, can't stress how, you know, they need to be intriguing. So some of you here have got e-commerce websites, pop-ups, opt-ins. It's about making sure you're collecting data at every which point that you can to make sure that you are growing your email list, or you're growing your sell list or your messenger list. When you've got a list or a following on social media, remember, you don't own those details, the platform does. So an email list is absolutely key, because the more and more you grow it, that is traffic that you own, that is leads that you can turn into leads at any given time, that you can turn into sales at any given time. Okay, so next we are going to look at analytics. You know, analytics is key. Like I said, there's just so much marketing intelligence out there. You don't need to make assumptions anymore. And you should be using analytics to really define your business and your personal goals. You know, the data's there. You know, what goals is it that you have to, you know, achieve what you want? Use the data, use the analytics. Don't make assumptions to, you know, make sure you discover insights through reports and take action on real data. So as long as you've got a website, as long as you've got a landing page, even social media pages, everybody should have a Google Analytics account. And if you don't, please go and set one up today, because you're missing out on valuable data that could answer some really important questions. It's going to help with, who are my audience? Okay, we talked a lot about knowing who your audience is. Well, if you've got audience, what's the data telling you? You don't need to guess or do third-party research or read reports. You've actually got the data there. Through what medium did they find you? What are they doing on your landing page or website? You know, we've even got now things called heat maps, where you can sign up and you can actually physically see and watch what people are doing on your website, which is giving you more insight and more detailed data to be able to make informed decisions. How much are your customers worth to you? You know, we got to a stage we realized some of our customers be coming through a particular medium were actually low cost and really high headache, and decided actually you got the right as a business owner and a business to choose your customers. You know, so what are tracking codes? Tracking codes are something that you would get, and then you would place it on your web pages, landing pages, or your website. So Google Analytics, when you sign up, if you haven't already, will give you a code. You put that onto all your pages and it will track the information. It's not just Google that does that. Even Facebook does it, Instagram does it. It's called something called a pixel. Even if you did Google Ads, and this code is what's going to help you to really find the audience who's interested in you and what you do. So it's a very powerful tool. So even with like Facebook and Instagram, you could run a campaign and you could set a pixel up that you want to try and get people to your checkout page. Now, once that pixel starts working and it starts to find people that's going to your checkout page, it will start to find more people like that. So whatever data it's collecting, and this is where privacy laws come, it's not going to share it with you, but it's looking and seeing who's interested in you, and it will find more people like that. So it could be that you've got an opt-in to your lead magnet, and you might say, put a video out. And let's just say that video, you might say, I want to find people, I want to create a target audience of people that watch 100% more of my video, 75% more of my video. Facebook will then find more people like that for you, depending on what instruction that you give. And this is all done by that little code, that little pixel. It will follow you around the internet. How many of you have looked at something and you keep seeing that same product over and over again? And this, what this, all this coding is. So what is your objective? What is your action? So think about it. Is your objective at the moment more sales, awareness, or leads? Now, everybody always wants to go for sales, but if you haven't got any leads, you can't just be, remember the relationship? You can't be just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay. Have you not started at all? So actually you need to build awareness. You know, who is your online customer? You know, what's their profile? What is the data telling me? And whatever the data is telling you, you're going to scale and you're going to find more. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading. Someone said good morning. So do you really want to turn your goals into profit using analytics? So measure your goals and objectives through the data. You should be scoring everything you do. If you're not scoring everything you do on social media, on your web pages, there is so much intelligence out there. You can even look at what your competitors are doing. You are missing a huge trick. And a lot of times, none of us don't work on our businesses enough. We work in it. And sometimes you need to take that time out and you need to have a strategic plan. So metrics can tell you number of visitors, number of page views, number of sessions. You know, dimensions are things like the visitors per city or region. You know, the source of referral, how they came from you, the browser type. Imagine if you knew all your browser types of Firefox. You actually know all your users are Apple users. And imagine if you was doing Facebook advertising. That's a bad thing, because you know that Facebook can't optimize anymore with Apple and the privacy laws on their phones. Makes sense? Data tells us a story. You know, what operating system are they using? If your website's mega slow and it's not loading, you could be losing loads of traffic because most of the people that are on your site, the operating system they're on, can't handle all the videos and imagery that you've got on it. You know, data tells you something at all times, something. Yeah, Jean D, that's your screen name. Your name hasn't come up. This will be posted on YouTube, and we will put the link in an email that we're sent to everyone. But it's just Natalia. I tell you what I am going to do. I can't because I'm actually sharing screen. I was going to put the YouTube channel. If you just look me up, Natalia Nicholson, you'll see my YouTube channel, but I will be sending an email out. But thank you very much. So using analytics, you can be clear on where people heard about you, which web pages they visited the most. Imagine if you had, you know, a web page that wasn't even your home page, or was a page of a page that they went onto that they were visiting the most. Wouldn't you want to bring whatever's on that page onto the home page, maybe? Okay, what device are they using? Is it mobile, phone, or desktop? Imagine if everybody was using mobile, but your website isn't mobile friendly. Where are the visitors located in the world? For my gift business, I got a good indication that if I set up in America, I do phenomenally well because so much of my traffic comes from there. I'm just not able to dispatch to there at the moment. You know, the impact of your social media accounts. You know, all of this you can report on through Google Analytics and so much other reporting tools that will give you an in-depth site. Video is on the rise, and video is an excellent way, especially through paid advertising and marketing, to learn a lot about your audience. There are times where I've got no data when I'm starting a new project with a client or for myself. So what I'll do is I will run ads to get the data to find it out. So I'm not making assumptions. Better that than spending loads of money on ads that it doesn't work. So do you see how key data is for your growth? You have to be scoring what you're doing. You need to go and get the data to find out, how do I strategize and move forward? You don't need to shoot in the dark. It's about making informed decisions. Okay. So lastly, We're going to look at social media. And again, I'm not going to go into a great depth, but I just want you to really think about social media. In this day and age, we feel like we've got to have presence on all these sites, including TikTok, which needs to be on here as well. But you need to ask yourself in the customer value journey, where is my audience hanging out? How can I make them aware of me? And they're not going to be hanging out on every single one of those platforms. So you don't need to be doing social media on all of them, because it will cost you a lot and it will take a lot of time up. Okay, so I want you to think about, what accounts do I have, and actually which ones are my audience hanging out on? Okay, so reasons why people share, reasons why people use social media. You know, what do people love to share on social media? What do people love to talk about? So cute things, most popular, controversial, shocking, sexy, unbelievable, exclusive, random, funny, valuable, geeky. These are the things. People do not hang out on social media to be sold to. So your prospect lives on social media. There are 3.8 billion active social media users in the world, and rising with the use of the smartphone. In the UK, we have a population of 66 million, and I think it's something like 62 that's got access to social media. Okay, on average, we spend 144 minutes a day on social media on any one device. So people hang out on social media a lot. In terms of making yourself aware to your audience, I think what you should ask yourself is, are people looking for me? Which would indicate that really SEO AdWords is a better option. Or do people have a problem and have no idea that you exist, and it's about building a community and educating people? And in that instance, it's social media. So people don't hang out on social media to be sold to, but you can on social media reach new audiences, create new opportunities, target specific types of customers, and build relationships and networks. So you can build communities, you can build tribes. You know, you can drill down by audience profiling a lot on social media, especially if you're paying for advertising, which means you can get real specific on the type of customers that you want. And you have to niche in this day and age. You know, gone are the days where you can just be, you know, you've only got 4 television channels and you can put an advert out and boom, the sales come in. It doesn't work like that anymore. You know, everybody has got their own community and own tribe, because the internet allows for that. So you need to be very specific about who your customer is, and also so they can identify with you. Remember what I said, it's about building relationships. So, you know, you want to use social media to get noticed. Social media is a great tool to really raise an awareness, that first stage of the customer value. You know, you can start a two-way conversation, increase your engagement, and get to know your audience, and your audience get to know you. You can establish yourself as a thought leader and an authority, so people feel you're the go-to with the problem that they've got. And you can build your own community, which is a very powerful tool. You know, imagine that. With Facebook, you've got your own newspaper. YouTube, you've got your own TV channel. Instagram, you've got your own magazine. Like, literally, you can create all of these things. Social media will also help your search engine optimization, your SEO, massively. You know, it's going to help you rank on search engines, because search engines actually measure how great you are by, you know, your authority, the amount of people that are engaging with you, the amount of content that you've got, the amount of people that are engaging with your content, where your content can be found outside your own platforms. You know, SEO is a great way that attracts more people to your website if you've got an e-commerce store or your landing page. And from there, once you've done that, what are you doing? You're gaining valuable customer data and insights. You're going to get the analytics to be able to make those informed decisions. You know, social media is a great way to keep on top of your competition, to find out what they're doing, what their customers think of them. So I really want you to ask yourself, in terms of building a social media strategy, these following things. What kind of content should I post? Now, this goes right the way back to what? Content marketing. Understanding who your audience is and looking at that before and after group and doing the customer avatar is going to help you understand what content to pull out to really connect with your audience. Imran just asks how to choose your target, and what if it does not work? Brilliant question. Do you modify your target market? If yes, it will If yes, it will get you to where you started at the first place. So a few things for that, Imran. You do need to look at your target audience. But what I would say is if you're an established agency and you've set up, look at your product offering actually and what you do. Think about what you do. Think about, you know, what makes you an authority. Think about what you're good at and think about what audience needs that service, because that's the audience that you need to go after. If you've already got an established business, you've got a website, you've got a product offering, you don't want to change all those things. Really, actually, you want to change your audience of why they would need you and your agency. Does that make sense? So that's how you would modify your audience in accordance to your core offering, what you offer, why you're an authority and why you can help people. They need to have a problem that you can solve. And if you're targeting the wrong audience and you're not solving a problem that they haven't got or that you can't correct for them, they're just going to walk past you, if that makes any sense. So you're not back where you started. Don't think about it like that, because really this is a sales exercise. And it's what I said in the beginning. We always tend to forget that marketing is sales. So in terms of your social media strategy, other things I want you to ask yourself is, when is the best time to engage with your followers? You know, you're going to read a whole load of things that says it's in the morning, it's at lunchtime, it's at nighttime before people go to bed. Not everybody lives that lifestyle. I've had clients from the UK that are in places like the UAE and don't realize that their weekend is a Friday and Saturday. So you're putting out content on days of rest that you don't even understand the days of rest. Okay, so understand, when is it the best time to engage with your followers? Do posts on your social media have a call to action? Is there a point to the content that you're putting out beyond it being cute, sexy, controversial, and getting the attention of your prospects and making them aware of you? What are you trying to do next? It goes back to the customer value journey. Can you see how it's all coming together? By making sure that you want them to go and do and, you know, take their next action. It's really, really key. Sorry, I've just had a low battery. Let me put my charger in because I wouldn't want to just, there we go. Who are my most influential followers that engage with these the most? These are your brand advocates. These will tell other people about you. These people will help you to actually build your brand and build your business. Who are they? Who are the people that are most influential that can help you? Thanks for being so generous, Mike. No problem. Imran, that's what I do. That's what we do in our community. We don't hold anything back. It's one of my biggest bear bugs on my journey, that people just want to keep charging and charging for information, when really the whole world can have the secret of being rich, but it depends. Not everybody's going to have the focus to be able to implement it and do it. So why hide it from us? So I'm always going to be fully transparent. And remember, what was I doing again? What was I saying? You know, when it comes to social media and content marketing, seriously, grab attention with headlines. You have seconds before people move on. That timeline that people are always scrolling, they say we scroll on average just under 3 miles a day, by the way. So you've got to make sure that, you know, you are really standing out and sticking out to make sure that you are seen. There's a lot of competition out there. And social media is not always free. So if you're paying for those ads, you need to make sure that they're landing correctly. This is where things like copywriting come into play. Again, communication, or being able to really be able to connect with your audience. Can't stress it enough. You know, once it's gone live, it's gone live. And if you're anything like me, I'm dyslexic and not that great with grammar and spelling. Be mindful of that as well, because some people are so unforgiving of a typo. So 5 steps to creating a social media strategy. Understand who is your audience. Understand what your goal is, because you will get lost in social media of the world of influencers, the world of shiny object syndrome, the world of looking at things and thinking, oh, that's intriguing. You'll get lost in it and you'll start getting so creative, you lose the point of what the goal is, which is going to be a commercial objective. You know, which social media platforms are your audience hanging out on? Which ones are you going to use? The magic number 3. No more than 3 do you want to have a full content strategy for. If you're just starting out, I would say 1. Tonality, your brand, going all the way back to the beginning of this workshop when we started, making sure that that shines through and that marries through. because people buy people, and people are going to want to be a part of your community and follow you because they feel like they can resonate with you. So what's your tonality? What's your brand personality going to be like? What are you good at? What's your thing? We've all got a gift. Sometimes we just, too humble to admit it. We don't want to. So it took me years to find out what my gift is. Sometimes it's staring us in the face so obviously that we just completely and utterly lose sight of it. So, like I said, if you're in the beginning, start with one social media account at a time. Define what that goal is. List what software and technology that you're going to need to achieve the goal. Is it a following? Is it making, growing a Facebook group? Is it growing a community? Is it growing your Instagram account? What is the goal that you need to achieve? Identify any barriers and conflicts that you might have, whether it's that you don't like going on video, you don't like editing, maybe you haven't got a film kit because you want to do video, maybe, your audience love blog writing and articles, but you're not good at writing. I don't know, but identify what the barriers and the conflicts are. And just make sure you make practice permanent. Not perfect, permanent. So your major platforms are Twitter. You can easily promote, you can research, you can provide links to blog stories. It connects really, really well with LinkedIn as well, journal articles and news items. If any of you have got businesses that are reliant on news updates, Twitter is absolutely excellent. You can reach a large number of people quickly, but remember your tweet only lasts like a matter of minutes. But what is great about Twitter is you can follow the work of other experts in your field and build relationships with experts, celebrities, and influencers. You tend to find those are the people that dominate Twitter. Facebook is your newspaper. You can use Facebook to talk to existing and potential customers by posting and receiving messages, but don't use Facebook too aggressively. A lot of people say, oh, Facebook's for older people now. I use Instagram more. Facebook still has billions of users. Let's not get it twisted. It's actually still one of the biggest social media platforms, even though it's used a lot for advertising, but it's also used a lot for community building and groups. But what people don't like about Facebook is hanging out on social media to be sold to, exactly what we spoke about. But it's really powerful. You can link it to your main website or landing page. You can add it to an e-commerce store like Shopify. You can sell on Facebook now. The call to action buttons are brilliant with the shop now, contact, buy now, learn now, attend event. You can use Giphies, videos, inserts and shares. You can build a community through Facebook groups, which is a really common reason why people do use Facebook. Instagram is really visual. It's owned by Facebook, and in point is to make connection with people who see the world in interesting ways. So you can follow them because you resonate with them. So a great place to build a community as well. You follow people like you, they follow you back. It's that kind of simple mechanism. But it's now sits par and par with TikTok, and it's become very video orientated. For you to really get ahead with Instagram now is really hard. The days of just being an influencer and being able to get into the thousands of followers is actually quite difficult. But video is the way to go. But Instagram is great fun. It's a platform that a lot of us use the most. It's a great place to go on and tell stories by using images and videos. You can use hashtags to attract people that might be interested in what you do, but don't use any more than 10. You can become or follow influencers, brands, or people of interest to you. LinkedIn is a business-to-business platform. It is literally like a Facebook, but for business-to-business. It can really help you grow your business or your career. It's great for business-to-business. It's a great tool for lead generation. You can create a personal or company page on there. You can encourage your employees to follow you and become brand advocates. LinkedIn, if you are looking for someone, is the #1 place in the search engine where Google will pull out who you are. And so it's great for SEO. And you can generate interest by making connections for absolute free. You can establish yourself as an authority, whether it's through blog writing. You've got LinkedIn Live now. You can share product news, thought leadership content. It's a great place to really establish yourself as an authority, and an even better place for lead generation and business to business, but using some of the same principles as, say, Facebook. YouTube, you've got your own TV station. Video is one of the most popular content formats, and it's regularly shared via social media. So Google and other search engines tend to favor video, and Google own YouTube, remember. So sharing a video via YouTube with good titles, descriptions, and tags is a great way to improve your search engine optimization. So literally, you've got your own TV station, you can be a thought leader, you can create shareable content, you can think about creating informative and engaging videos for your audience and build a following, and you can look for potential joint ventures to help grow your channel. Joint ventures are brilliant on YouTube. We look a lot on YouTube for joint ventures where there isn't a conflict of interest and we share our community with another business, organization, or product where we have the same audience, but like I said, we're not a conflict of interest. It's good to consider paying because when you pay, when it comes to social media marketing, you're going to have a much bigger reach for awareness, audience engagement, hands down. So if you've got the budget for it, it's great, but make sure you have please make sure you're scaling when you're paying, which means you know that your customer value journey, you know your strategy works, and then scale. If you don't know that it works, use advertising to find out the missing information. So when you advertise, you'll get return on investment. Because otherwise, advertising is a bit like the stock market. It will take your money and run. So consider paying across all platforms, but especially more so if your goal is more sales and growth orientated and you've proven that you have got a proven strategy. So as we come to the end, I can see the chat going off. I'm about to put all the links in the chat and answer the questions, but just a few more things, just some tools that are great. You've got social media schedulers like Later. You've got HubSpot, you've got Social Pilot, which is what we use. There's so many. So it's a great tool to manage multiple social media accounts at once. And you can schedule updates, you can get analytics from them, and just so much more. Canva is your own graphic designer. It's an amazing tool for such a cheap price. You've got a free version and you've got a paid version, but it's literally like having your own graphic designer where you can drag and drop. It offers you thousands of templates to be able to create banners, create stories. You can even do videos in there now, infographics, proposals, brochures, invites, you name it, it does it. Brilliant tool. Grammarly, like I said, I'm dyslexic. Spelling and grammar is absolutely appalling. I couldn't live without Grammarly. And in this day and age, like I said, people are very unforgiving. So this is a great tool that will correct your spelling and your grammar. So we've come to an end. What are the next steps? So I just want to share some things with you, but I'm really hoping that you got a lot out of today and it's really made you think about your customer value journey. Well, I've just got a few things in the chat. So Imran said, not perfect, but permanent. Tip of the day, thumbs up. Thanks, Imran. But not everyone is a TV personality. What tip for them? Yeah, and I think it's not so much necessarily about your personality. Remember in the branding, I said, let's think about your audience. So do your audience prefer watching videos? Do they prefer reading blogs? Who's your audience? You know, if your clients are all medical clients, I don't think, you know, having a YouTube channel and turning into a TV personality is really going to be the best thing, because does that make sense? That's what they're looking for. They might be more interested in white papers, case studies. So you really need to think about your audience and how you're going to place yourself as an authority. And you're right, not everybody is a TV personality for sure, but there's just so many other ways. It could be repurposing content of interest. You know, there's people that I follow that rather than trawling all around the internet, they often post articles of interest or put videos that I'm interested in, so I can just stick to that one channel. Or I use Instagram a lot just to, you know, see what interests me. So repurposing content that you think your audience would like is a really good way as well. No problem. So before we go, please don't go anywhere yet. I just want to give you some links. So the first link I want to give you is YouTube, because that is where the replay for today is going to be. So please do make sure that you log into, you subscribe to us on YouTube so you can get it. I've just put it in the link now. So that is our YouTube channel. For those ladies that are on here and you want more resources, Women in Digital Business, please, please, please do join our Facebook group. It's a thriving community. We're in there every day, giving out tips, helping. All the events that we do, everything are all in there. So please make sure that you do join the Facebook group. So let me put that in the chat. That's there. No problem. Favor said, thanks a lot for this insightful session. God bless you. Thank you so much, Kemi. So we've got YouTube in there, we've got Facebook in there. Also as well, I'm actually going to be running an event here in Barking, which is like a day's boot camp, just to let you know. And that day's boot camp is really, when I spoke a lot about our audience and understanding who our audience is, content marketing, understanding how to copyright, where we're going to be taking a deep dive into really understanding what your core offer is, how you're going to position your core offer, who is your audience. We're going to spend a whole day, 9:30 to 5:30, of you working on your business to really establish your product offering, who your audience is, learn how to really connect with your audience through content writing, which copywriting, which is whether you're doing a video and you're a personality and you need to sell a script, whether you're putting funnel pages together, writing copy for your e-commerce, you really do need to understand that. So that event is actually £297. You get lunch, but you have got £100 off, so it's just £197, which is amazing, because it's not, honestly, the copywriting course that I've done, that we've, you know, taken, you know, when I think about what we do, when we look at, we do something called mind hacking my organization, just to let you know, and it really takes a deep dive into looking at who your audience is to be able to write content that can connect. Those type of courses are like thousands, and I'm not exaggerating. So it's a real no-brainer price, and you get an awful lot out of it. So that's the live event. So live, I've just put the link in, but I should have wrote what it is. Live event. So you've got a whole £100 off just from attending this webinar. It's usually $297. So please do check us out. I've got your email addresses, so I will be sending the decks out, just to let you know, for today. And we also, especially for those of you that are based in actually, I've forgotten about those of you digitally, that same boot camp that I'm doing a live event of for a whole day. You can actually do it online as well, because not all of you are based here in London and the UK. So if you do want to do the digital version of it, it's here. So it's the digital boot camp. And you've also got a promo code in there that gives you 30% off. So it's usually just $97. So we've got a live event coming up. Go and check it out on the 12th of July. And we've got the digital version of it for those of you that are not based in London. And the last thing is we have got a fab networking event for all the ladies across the summer called Pizza and Prosecco. So if you can, do make sure that you come down. And it's at the new creative workspace that has just launched with Beck as well. And it will be every single Tuesday from the 5th of July. So I'm also going to put that in there. So let me just email Hustlers, it's called. Told you I had some links for you, and hopefully all of you have taken the link for Beck. Beck is an amazing organization, by the way, and they really do believe in and understand what enterprising is for their local area. So anybody looking for desk space, office space, and any of you who are creatives that are looking for a creative workspace, please do get in contact with them. And again, I'm just going to put their link at the bottom. So anybody that's based in London that might want some mentoring, you want to look at what other events they've got going on, you might need some office space or creative workplace, please reach out to them.